Lola's in the hospital, and Phyllis and Nick might be done after she made some kind of plea deal so that she would throw the other women under the bus. Stay tuned for this week's Restless Wrap.
You're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
Hey everybody, I'm Rachel Goodman here with another week of Restless Wrap. We've been on hiatus for 2 weeks, so welcome back. I'm excited to be back. My husband and I spent the last week in Hawaii, so we're back in LA now, and it's a little less warm, but hey, I'm really excited and happy to be back here to talk about Y&R and everything that's been going on. We went through and watched the last 3 weeks up and through today, so a lot has been happening. A very dramatic couple of weeks, especially with Lola and the Rosales family, and finally we're getting into everything going on with the JT storyline, and we're getting some kind of resolution with that, even if it is still moving slowly, but at least things are happening now. Before I move on, I just want to give a shout out to Rob Castro Giovanni, who has been messaging me throughout the week about Y&R. I just wanted to give a shout out to him, as well as we also had Jacob Marquez who reached out, and also all the people in the chat right now. We have Hubby Joe, Zoe Johnson, Brittany Duran, Amy Caroluzzo, Rainy J, and we also have Mary. And then final shout out, we had Amy Williamson, who actually was talking through the at Restless Wrap Facebook page. So just a reminder for anyone who's not on Facebook or who's not following the Restless Wrap page, if you go on Facebook and you go to at Restless Wrap or just Restless Wrap, you will find us, and you can like and follow, and I always post the link to the videos on there and always update about the show on there. And if you have any comments throughout the week, I will be glad to read them live on our show. So go ahead and go over to Facebook right now and like and follow that group. So let's go ahead and dive in here. We also have Betty's Baked Goods, who's popping into the chat. So hi, Betty. And Hubby Joe says, hashtag Phyllis the snitch. Well, as Christine pointed out, yeah, the other snitch, not quite, not the first snitch, as we will discuss this week. So, all right, let's touch base with Lola and Kyle and everything going on with that. I feel like there's a little less to talk about, so let's just kind of dive in. First of all, we had everything, all the drama happening around Valentine's Day with Mia and Ray, and Mia saying Arturo's name, and I'm sorry if I never roll those R's the right way, but saying his name instead of Ray's name when they were having sex. And that's kind of where all of this sort of catapulted from there, from that one little scene, and now we have this whole entire mess. We had Mia. She was waiting for Ray at the club during Valentine's Day, and of course Ray didn't show. There was a lot going on with the case with JT. That was one reason, but also Ray, it's very clear he is now done with Mia, and wanted to be with Sharon, went to Sharon to tell her he loved her, but then when he did this, Sharon finally admitted that everything that had happened after Ray was snooping around and found her cell, which is crazy. Ray should know better than to believe that he can use evidence that he just finds in someone's house without having any kind of warrant or reason to be searching the house. But that being said, with getting back to Lola here, we had, leading into Lola anyway, we have Mia at the club waiting for Ray, who never shows. She gets into an altercation with Abby, and it gets to the point where she actually grabs her hair. It starts to get physically violent. Even so, I didn't expect what ended up happening, which is that as we see with Lola, we have so much drama here. Lola, who was having issues with Kyle, and Kyle was at the club, and Summer showed up, and he was kissing Kyle, or she was kissing Kyle, sorry. Lola finally, long story short, decides she's going to go back to Kyle's place and tell him she loves him and wants to be with him, and they're going to work it out. But Lola had been at the club earlier where Abby gave Lola her jacket, And as Lola's walking in to, see if Kyle's home, she starts texting Arturo. She brings up her phone. Arturo's name pops up, and then we see someone with high heels. First, basically, like, push her and take her phone and slam the phone to the ground. As far as we know, Lola didn't see who the attacker was, but Lola was, because everything happened from behind, and Lola's head went face first into the diving board, which was pretty hard to watch. But then not only that, she ends up falling into the water after that. Now, okay, we all know that this is Mia at this point, who left her earring there, and it's gonna go out. We've seen the previews too, so we kind of know it's all gonna come out, that everyone's gonna know it's Mia, or at least Ray is gonna find out it's Mia. But my thought is that I just didn't think, I'm not surprised Mia did this, but it just, the way that it went down, the way that everything is happening, Mia had a couple of months, well, maybe not a couple months, maybe a month, we'll give her that. She had about a month where we actually at least I kind of felt bad for her and didn't know what they were going to do, and kind of figured, all right, well, they'll break them up. Ray and Mia probably should not be together. Like, it just, all of us were always saying, yeah, it just doesn't feel right. But what ended up happening was Mia just, it's like she finally hit this point where she has just snapped. She clearly has a problem too with drinking. I don't know if anyone else noticed that, but she just gets really, like, drunk and does these stupid things. And the fact that one major fight would make her turn into this person who could attack anyone. And then not only that, but once she attacks who she believes to be Abby because of the jacket, Mia keeps going and, like, even, like, Googles it online. Abby Newman attacked. Yes, we can tell, like, after the fact, Mia's freaking out and, like, oh my God, did I really do this? And we can see how shaky she is. But at the same time, she almost wanted it to be news, like, to be this huge ordeal, and she wanted the drama. And it's just crazy that she couldn't even see the error in her ways, even after the fact. And yeah, it's just, this is going to be a real mess, especially because we don't know right now if Lola is actually going to wake up. So we'll get to that in a second. So Doolaman made a really good point in caps. She said, "Long live Kristoff St. John," and I'm sorry if I am pronouncing that wrong, but that is a really good point. The actor who plays Neil passed away, and I just wanted to give a moment. The show wasn't on air the week that he passed, so I just wanted to take a moment and just pay respect to him, and just say, like, they had a couple of episodes where they actually gave a shout out to him and Y&R paid their own respect to him. But I just wanted to take a moment on the show and just say that he will definitely be missed. And I think we saw the last of Neil as terms of what was taped. But it's just a very tragic thing that I just wanted to take a moment to pay tribute to him. And it looks like a lot of people in the chat too are kind of going on about Kristoff as well. Mary, Kristoff will be missed. And yeah, so we'll keep, if anyone else has any other things you'd like to pay tribute to the actor, we actually looked him up as soon as we found out the news, and he had a very, very long career, not just as a soap actor, but he had been around since the 70s, doing movies, doing other soaps, just a very, respected actor. So, getting back to Lola, we do have a couple other comments in the chat as well. Mary, did the Rosales family ever bring drama to Y&R? So as far, the Rosales family is very new. They have not been around that long. So Mia is really the one who brought all the drama. We had some drama with Arturo as well, but not this kind of drama, more just drama because he was sleeping with Nikki. Mary says, "I'm happy Nick dumped Phyllis. She won't get Billy back because he is into Victoria. Hopefully she will leave Jack alone now." Rainy J says, "Agree, Mary." And Hubby Joe, hashtag Phyllis, the deal making snitch. Doolaman, hashtag buy Mia. Caroline Spencer, I haven't watched in so long. I have no clue what's going on in the show. My life got crazy. I'm so behind. Rainy J, Rachel, no mention of Kristoff. Yeah, it came a little bit later. Sorry, guys. Caroline, so in terms of what's been going on, just to summarize it really fast as we continue with Lola and Kyle and Summer, is we have like these two main storylines going on with JT's murder, which is finally being brought to trial, and then we have a lot going on with the Rosales family and everything with Lola. I've noticed like the last couple of months, I do have a comment. It seems like the last couple of months, especially, we've had a lot of the characters falling into comas. And Lola is one of them. So she ended up, we had Victor, Nikki, now Lola, who is in a coma. They're saying they're not sure if she's going to wake up. And if she does, they're very concerned about her liver. I am hoping, and this is more of a prediction, but we'll just kind of throw it in there. I'm hoping that when Lola does wake up, they do more with it than they've done with Nikki or Victor. Nikki and Victor, they both kind of woke up, and with a little bit of therapy within a couple of weeks, they were good to go. There was no, you would never know that they were in a coma now. Like, everything's good. I'm hoping that with Lola, they actually do more with it and that they show how deeply a coma can actually affect someone mentally and just everything. You wouldn't just wake up and finally be good to go. Not that they did a terrible job with it, because Victor, we really did see him struggle a lot with speaking and walking, and they did have to do physical therapy with him, but to me, they're just, it was a couple weeks and then he was okay. There was no like long-term effect, and there would be if you're in a coma, especially for as long as they were. And Lola, it doesn't seem like she's going to be waking up anytime soon. So all I'm saying is I hope they do more with her coma when she wakes up than they did with Nikki or Victor. Doolaman, either bring JT back or drop the whole storyline. I'm over it. Yeah, we'll definitely talk about that next. Rainy J, why do they make it seem like the review show is coming on every week, though? We were still getting notifications that you guys were live. We do. So we are a weekly show, but every so often, if I'm not here or if the studio closes for whatever reason, which only happens around the holidays, we wouldn't have the show. But otherwise, it is a weekly show, unless unless for whatever reason I can't be here. But that's a good reason to follow the Facebook page, because at Restless Wrap, I will always notify you guys if I'm not going to be here. Mary, I agree, Doolaman. I am so over JT. Caroline Spencer, oh wow, seems I missed a lot. Thanks for the update. No problem. So, let's move along a little bit here. Once Kyle actually got to the hospital, at this point, they don't know that it's Mia. Ray doesn't even suspect it yet. And obviously Kyle is trying to see Lola, but Arturo especially is really pushing that it's not, that he doesn't want Lola in the room, that he doesn't want her anywhere near his sister. And Arturo kind of makes a good point that Kyle and Lola ended on bad terms, or even if they didn't, like, even if Lola was rushing to see Kyle, who knows what she's going to remember, like how far back her memory is going to, like a coma could mess up anything. So we don't know. So Arturo did kind of make a good point that if Lola wakes up and she sees Kyle, if she doesn't maybe remember that she wanted to be with him or that she was running back to him, it might cause more trauma than is necessary for a recovery. I get that. But it's still kind of Arturo's just being, typically protective over his little sister, even more so than Ray, it felt like. And I'm surprised, because I expected Ray to be, the big brother who was really like, oh no, Kyle, you can't come anywhere near my sister. But not that Ray isn't, because he is being protective. It's just that Arturo is being even more protective, and that kind of surprised me. Mary, it's not fair what Arturo is doing. He is one to talk. Yeah, I agree with that. I don't think that, I don't like what Arturo's doing at all either. But it is to me, it feels very characteristic of him and the brothers and how they've been treating Kyle all along with dating their sister and, just warning him. And also, people do tend to be very hypocritical. And so Arturo probably isn't thinking about all the things he's done, at least not enough for him to realize, oh, I should give Kyle another chance. He's just thinking of the fact that this is his little sister and he doesn't want Kyle. He doesn't like Kyle. Like, really, he doesn't. So I don't know. We are going to have to wait until she wakes up. Arturo did say, well, if Lola wakes up and she calls for Kyle, then that's a different story. He wouldn't stop Kyle from being there. But I do love the fact that Abby has been sticking up for Kyle. Kyle had nothing to do with this. Like, okay, here's the thing with Kyle. He's finally realizing this now. He lets Summer into his life. Like, he has tried, and to be fair to him, he has been very, he has put his foot down with Summer many times, but to me, it's not enough. The fact that he was still friends with Summer, the fact that he had barely been broken up with Lola and he's already like hanging out with Summer again. And I get it. Summer inserts herself into his life. So it's not like, there's only so much Kyle can do, but he could have, there could have been, I think, more in that specific situation with Summer showing up at the cabin. And yeah, let's be honest here. When Summer kissed Kyle, Kyle definitely kissed back. It wasn't like a, whoa, what are you doing? It wasn't even like when Summer kissed Billy, and Summer tried to say that Billy kissed back. Billy pushed back faster than Kyle. And yeah, I know Billy was dating Phyllis. So yes, Billy should push back faster than Kyle. But if Kyle really wants to be with Lola, he should have pushed back. He should have pushed back more than he did. That was like we were actually seeing them making out. And for a guy who wants to be with Lola and loves Lola, yeah, you don't, especially when Summer is the point of tension between the relationship, or one of the points, you don't just make out with Summer. You figure out a different way to handle what's going on without letting Summer hang out with you and put the moves on you 2 different times. So yeah, I don't think that he's completely innocent here. And obviously there's still some like remaining feelings for Summer that he hasn't dealt with. But I'm not saying he's this terrible guy either. And in this particular case with Lola getting attacked, it was just a really crappy twist that he had nothing to do with. And it makes me feel bad for him. Rainy J, he's doing too much. Don't forget what Victor said about Arturo being an opportunist. Yeah, that's true. And also Victor being very blunt about not trusting Arturo at all, period. So I don't trust Arturo, not just because Victor said that, but just in general. Like, there's something I think we don't know yet. Mary, so Friday's cliffhanger was Ray's handcuffs Mia, and she says, I'm pregnant. Oh, I didn't catch the pregnant part. First of all, I think we could all, as soon as I'm reading that, I'm thinking, oh no, Mia's not pregnant. That's a lie. I think that would be her next move. But what I saw, maybe I missed it in the previews for next week, but it was Ray handcuffing Mia. So we'll see. I'm very curious. I want to see Mia in jail. But then we also have everything going on with the JT storyline finally kind of sort of wrapping up, or at least moving into a different direction. But before we move into a different direction here and start talking about that, I just want to say thank you for making us the ESPN of TV Talk. For us to continue to grow, we could definitely use your help. If you're on YouTube right now, hit that thumbs up button and subscribe. And if you're on iTunes, please give us a 5-star rating. But no matter where you are, leave us a comment so you can get involved in the conversation. Being a part of AfterBuzz TV has meant so much to all of us, and we truly appreciate you supporting us and doing what we love. Don't forget to tell all your friends, and keep enjoying our shows. Speaking of moving into the next topic and talking, we are definitely going to take some calls tonight. So in a moment, I will let you guys know what the number is so you can call in live. That would be, if you are listening live right now, it's February 24th, 2019, and it is 5:30 Pacific Standard Time or 8:30 Eastern Standard Time, depending upon where you are. And if you're not in either of those time zones, well, sorry, you can just Google based on your own time zone. The number is to call in is 424-354-8302. Again, if you're listening live, the number to call in is 424-354-8302. And we have a couple other comments in the chat, and then we will move forward. Kenneth Clark, I'm loving the Sharon, Mia, and Ray triangle. Yeah, and let's touch a little bit about that too, because Mary has the same kind of comment. Her comment is, will Sharon go back with Nick, or will Ray want Sharon? I am thinking that, well, what I'm really hoping is that Sharon will go back with Nick, now that he is definitely done with Phyllis. But we know what Sharon did. We know that she did technically tell Ray everything, and that she really is the first snitch. And of course, Sharon did it for better reasons than Phyllis. Sharon didn't necessarily expect that Ray was going to Sharon sort of did expect that Ray wouldn't turn her in, but she didn't do it to hurt Nikki or Victoria or Phyllis. Just the fact that Ray, who she has feelings for, was pressuring her into talking about it. So Sharon had to have known her admission was going to hurt everyone involved, but not the way that Phyllis was doing it. Good old Phyllis. Let's talk about her for a second. Phyllis. So we all know what happened, that Sharon telling Ray set into motion a turn of events that got all four women, well, Nikki was already in jail, but it got the other three arrested. And as they were questioning everyone, Sharon was smart enough to hire a lawyer. And of course, the lawyer, and this is what me and hubby Joe were wondering as we were watching this, the lawyer's first thing to Sharon was, well, did he have a warrant? Did he have any, did he go through the proper legal channels to search and find this cell phone record that you had? And the answer is no. And so none of what Sharon told Ray was going to be usable in court. And it was that's the thing too, is that everything Sharon told Ray, there was no concrete proof. She didn't have the fire poker. She didn't have specific things. It was just a story. Not that it was an untrue story, but it was a story she was telling Ray. So fortunately, Sharon hired a good lawyer, and she told Sharon, just, you know what, he can't use any of what you told him in court, and that's that. So what ended up happening, though, and this would have been great, except for the fact that when Phyllis was brought in, Phyllis was the only one not to have a lawyer, which surprised me. You would think a woman who is a CEO of a company would have means of having her own lawyer, unless there's something I'm missing, and somehow Phyllis has dabbled in law and knows how to work the system. The reason I'm saying that is because there was a contract that was drawn up that basically the deal Phyllis made with Christine was, well, I have things I can tell you, but I'm not going to tell you unless I have some kind of deal with you where you're not going to be able to, where I'm untouchable, basically, where you can't convict me of anything and I'm off the hook. So Christine, before Phyllis tells her anything, Christine brings this contract in, and Phyllis is reading it. So that was the first thing in my mind was, yeah, no regular person is going to be able to kind of analyze legal jargon without having a lawyer there to kind of go over everything. Because I don't know, if it were me, I would not have trusted that contract. I would have gotten a lawyer. I would have said, okay, let me consult with my lawyer. Let's read through this just to make sure there was no loophole, because that's what I was expecting. Christine obviously didn't want to help Phyllis. I could tell it was I just felt like Christine doesn't strike me as the sneaky type, but I sort of felt like she was creating a contract that was actually going to hurt Phyllis after Phyllis told her everything and the facts were checked and there was evidence. I figured that then Christine would say, oh, great, you signed this contract. Well, by the way, there's a loophole and we're going to convict you anyway. So that's why as Phyllis was reading this, I was like, oh no, I would get a lawyer. I would get another opinion on this before you just go signing. But Phyllis did seem to be like scrutinizing those words. So like she really didn't, like she went over it thoroughly. It wasn't just a glance. So I'm wondering now, and if anyone is watching that or listening and you happen to know that Phyllis somehow has a background in law or she was a lawyer for some point in time, please let me know, because now I'm curious how Phyllis had the ability to do this. Maybe it's from another job, maybe it's being a CEO. Somehow she has experience with contracts. So not to spend too much time on that, but it really had me thinking. Even lawyers usually have other lawyers to represent them and go over things. So okay, those are my thoughts on that. Mary says Victor will have fun with Phyllis now. Yeah, and I loved that moment. I loved that. So Phyllis obviously made this deal, and then we saw them go to court, and eventually it came out that Phyllis was the witness. And Victor comes over, and in a grand Victor moment, he says to her, "Well, you may have made a deal with Christine, but now you're going to have to deal with me." And Phyllis did not look pleased. She had to have known what she was doing when she put them under the bus. And if it were me, if I was going to be a snitch like Phyllis, which would not have happened, but that's Phyllis. But like, if I had been in Phyllis's situation, I would have agreed to maybe be some kind of witness, but I would not have agreed to be like a public witness. I'm not sure if that's even a thing. If you can be a witness without having the other people involved see you, that is, I'm obviously not a lawyer, so I couldn't tell you. But okay, Caroline Spencer, Phyllis's sister, is a lawyer. Okay, well, that at least explains some of it to me. Kenneth Clark, I bet Christine loves questioning Phyllis. Back in the day, she hit cricket with her car, and the whole Phyllis and Danny storyline from the 90s. Rainy J, Nick is going to be mad with Sharon as well. Yeah, well, we saw in the previews that he actually breaks up with her, so I think they're done. I don't think there's any coming back. There's no coming back from that, just because, here's the thing. Sharon snitched too, but the way that she did it, I guess you could look at it then see it as being just as bad, but at least with Phyllis, the difference is that she she not only told the true side of the story and put everyone under the bus, but she also provided the evidence. She provided the story about that there's video footage out there, gave Christine the means of finding it, told her about the fire poker, told her about JT's clothing. So all of these things, like, Phyllis gave concrete evidence and went against the Newman family. And that's the whole thing, is that Sharon, for everything that Sharon did, she did it in a way that really didn't go against the Newman family. She didn't agree to put anything to give any concrete evidence. She didn't agree to go public with it. She didn't agree to stand as a witness. She didn't agree to any of that, whereas Phyllis was just like, okay, cool, let's do this. Let's put the Newman family, let's throw them under the bus. And now she will definitely have to suffer, because we know Victor is not going to stop, especially, and this is another thing to mention, we saw when Nikki was in jail, we saw an entire episode dedicated to her, and the actress who has been on the show for 40 years, so congratulations to her. And Nikki had this whole episode where she went over her life, and just from seeing the highlights of it, you can see that Victor will do anything for her, and he's not going to be. He's dealt with worse, and he's going to go after Phyllis. And not only that, but I have a feeling that Victor and Nick will probably team up together and go after her, as a team, because they seem to be getting along more, especially after this. Nikisha, hi Nikisha. So Nikisha just popped in. And we have Amaya Baker. I'm sorry if I pronounced your name wrong. Her sister Avery is a lawyer, and Phyllis is just smart. Yeah, okay, that makes sense. I can buy that. I was just curious if she did have any kind of law background. Kenneth Clark, I love Melody. She is the greatest. Yeah, and just another shout out to Jake, Jake Marquez, who we mentioned earlier on the show. He tweeted about it, and Melody actually liked his tweet. So I just want to say how amazing that is that she actually supports the fans and likes their tweets. So shout out to her on that as well. Okay. So just moving along a little bit here. And again, we're still taking calls if anyone would like to call in. That number is 424-354-8302. Again, the number is 424-354-8302. And Nikisha Jones says, love Melody. So yeah, we're getting a lot of support for Melody there. Okay, so the latest thing to really go over, we could talk about everything going on with Tessa and Mariah. There's no drama with them. Just wanted to kind of briefly mention their relation to this court case and sort of prediction territory, but not really. But so we see, like, when Phyllis was first giving the information to Christine, she mentioned the videos, and she said, Phyllis said, there was Mariah. She was there. You might want to go to her and see what's going on and see if she has anything, if she knows anything about the videos. So Christine called Mariah in for a second time, and Mariah did mention she knew about the videos, but we still don't know the extent of what's going to happen if everything comes out now that at least 3 of them are in jail. Because that was at the end of the arraignment hearing, the judge basically said that, all right, well, you're sentenced to, like, I think they said it was, they sentenced all of them for, like, 2nd-degree murder, I believe, and no bail. So all I know in terms of law is that obviously we're going to have another trial after this. The arraignment was just to kind of, the arraignment is kind of the trial before the trial. And so they weren't able to post bail. They're stuck in jail until the next court case, which will presumably set up their fate and determine that judge and that jury will determine whether the 3 women are going to go to jail and what they're going to be charged with and all of that jazz. But I'm curious what's going to happen when Mariah and Tessa's name starts getting thrown into this, because it will, especially if Phyllis is called back as a witness, and if she can be called back as a witness for a second time. And she will, it wouldn't surprise me if Phyllis threw their names under the bus too. Why not? Why wouldn't she? Or if somehow it came out and now they're in trouble for this as well. So we will have to see what happens with that. With the time that we have left, let's go into our law moment. So I had 2. I had Nikki reading off her full name as, like, when they had that anniversary episode special for her. First of all, her story was really fascinating. It was really interesting seeing her in her earlier episodes and then obviously in the later episodes. But when she read up her full married name, it had to be like 10 to 12 names long. It was just really funny that she had, well, maybe not 10 to 12, maybe less than that, but it was funny how many times, not only how many times she was married, that's not that big of a deal, but the fact that she still read off her full name like that, like she still had to use it legally or something, or, not legally, but that it was still her name. And then she even read off Victor's last name like a couple of times there. And then the other funny thing was Kyle creeping around the hospital after Arturo and Ray were telling him he couldn't be there. It was just really funny to watch as he was jumping back and forth between the door and like just kind of like creeping around like, oh yeah, they're not going to see me. It was just really funny, even though the situation wasn't funny. We had here we go. We have a couple of things here too from the chat about the law moment. Nikisha Jones first says Nikki is the best. Yes, I was laughing. I think she means about the last name. Kenneth Clark, I loved the cat fight with her and Sharon. Bessie wants some hay. Yeah. And that to me, like, obviously I was, well, maybe not obviously. I wasn't watching the soap when Sharon was different like that. So seeing Sharon act like this with Nikki, oh, that was hilarious. I agree with you there. Doolman says, when they showed her and Sharon fighting in the barn, yeah, that was funny. Also, can we say the moment when Victor proposed, I guess I don't know if it was the second or third time, but the time when it was like a romance novel, Victor trotting in on a horse with like Nikki in the barn and then some other random guy who was bringing in the other horse, and Victor gets down, he proposes to her. I was like, wow, this was like, it felt like I was reading a romance novel, except I was watching it. It was so funny. And Nikisha says, yeah, agreed, Kenneth Clark. That was hilarious. Rainy J says, I still don't trust Tessa. Doolman, I think Tessa knows more than we're led to believe. Yeah, because we still, and here's a lingering plot hole. We got a plot hole because maybe they're gonna fill it, but we don't know where the body is, and we don't know how much Tessa really knows. And we don't know if JT is actually alive. And I know there's been so much going on around with rumors that JT's alive. I want him to be alive. That would just fix this whole thing, right? I mean, no one would be on trial for anything. Well, maybe a slightly different trial if JT was pressing charges for assault. But yeah, that would be a very different case. But I want to see him alive. I think that would be the most satisfactory resolution to this whole thing. Or let's find a body already. Let's find out what actually happened to him, who moved the body, if it was Tessa, if it was someone else, if Victor was the one who moved it all along and didn't want to tell anyone. So that's kind of where we're left with that. And then Doolman also says, bye, Summer. Bye, Mia. She didn't put this, but I'm imagining her waving as she's saying that. Like, bye, Felicia. Well, in any case, let's just see if we have any other comments before we wrap up for today. Nikisha Jones, I think JT is in a coma or something else dramatic happened. That could be. He was hit pretty hard. We can kind of assume that he wasn't just pretending to be unconscious, that he actually was. And none of them were doctors to know if he was really alive or dead. So I would guess too that maybe JT was in a coma and that he at some point woke up, or someone found him, or someone else. Because here's another thing. We know that whoever was Katie's imaginary friend, who we are kind of guessing is JT, at least I'm kind of guessing that was JT. If it's not JT, it's somebody else. Somebody knew the whole time what they were doing. And maybe JT was working with someone. I think a couple weeks ago, someone in the chat predicted that JT was working with a guy who, he's the one who came back into the picture. So we will have to see. I really want them to resolve this or give us more information, like sooner rather than later, of course. But other than that, we just have to wait and see what happens. So that being said, my name's Rachel Goodman. You can find me on Instagram or Twitter at Rach Goodman. As I mentioned before, you can also go to our Facebook page, which is at Restless Wrap. If you like and follow, you'll always have the updates to the show. But otherwise, we're here every week, unless I can't be here, which isn't usual. Well, I hope you guys have a great week, and we will catch you next Sunday.
Our founder, Kevin Undergaro, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.